is Stephen Hart. I am a financial advisor at the European Investment Bank. We're based in Luxembourg. Now, for the last many years, I've worked with the topics of nature and climate adaptation. And in the last few years, we've seen the topic of nature-based solutions becoming more and more important. And so we're here today, actually, at the Naturance event, really trying to convey our experiences with this topic of the last 7 years. If any of you are interested, last year we wrote a report which looked at the state of play of financing nature-based solutions in Europe. And if you look up EIB and NBS, you'll find the report. It's an excellent primer that takes you through all the different landscapes and the players in that landscape. Now let me convey just a few key messages, really. Today, really, it's predominantly public funding that's going into nature-based solutions and not private financing, for a number of reasons. Mostly because nature, as many of you might imagine, is not generally revenue generating. It's very hard to monetize things in nature. It's also an area in which so much is happening to nature from other sectors, so it's actually very difficult from within the nature sector to address all those effects. Another thing is that when you look at typical nature projects, in fact we've looked at over 1,000 examples to classify them in different landscapes, we find that most of them are quite small, which means that the traditional financial sector finds it very hard to engage. So at the heart of trying to increase nature investments is actually the question of funding, which is where the revenues are going to come from. And that leads us to another very important question, which is willingness to pay and ability to pay, and also understanding the strategic motivations of our promoters. Interestingly, even though you might consider this as being a non-bankable sector, nevertheless it happens, and it's important to look at those examples. And what we find is that certain sectors, industries like the water sector or forestry, are very aligned with the time frames of nature. It's very long term, and deal with large land areas or space, so that they can capture these benefits. In general, when we look at what makes these things happen, it's when multiple stakeholders can actually get together and agree on actions and how to pay for them. And so it's very easy to get lost maybe in say, some of the difficulties. But if consensus can be created at all levels of governance, so the owners, the operators and the customers, then it's actually possible to go far beyond what you might think is say, you might expect. We at EIB, we're prepared to support projects in the future, so we like to provide advisory to prepare projects, of course generally large projects, but we can certainly learn from you and you can learn from us. So I do invite you to look at that report and to reach out if it's of interest to you.